When some think of a redhead, classic TV show I Love Lucy comes to mind.
She wants to know if the color of your hair is natural.
Oh, well, certainly tell him it's natural. And my father and my mother both had red hair.
Actress Lucille Ball may have dyed her hair red, reportedly so she would stand out on TV. Real redheads do stand out, especially if they're black.
You know, I'm a black woman, and I'm a black woman with red hair.
Black people with red hair, the subject of an upcoming documentary we hear from the creator and producer only in Blackland. When we think of redheads, depending on your age, maybe Lucy comes to mind. Or how about Prince Harry? Or what about black redheads? One of our most iconic, Malcolm X.
The number one domestic problem in America is the race problem. That it is almost impossible to solve it. It's almost impossible to give justice to Negroes.
But there are plenty of others, and Iva Wilson would love to meet them all. She is a redhead and the creator of Ginger Noir, the Black Redhead Project. Iva, welcome.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Let's talk about black redheads. What have you learned so far about this unique group of people?
I'm meeting so many redheads who looked like me as a young child. My hair was fire red. And I'm meeting people whose hair has changed over time or is still fire red.
Iva Wilson is a born black redhead, and she's a twin.
I have a fraternal twin sister who has black hair. She and I stood out because we were the twins in the neighborhood, and then I was the one with the fire red hair. And everyone would stop and ask my mom, did she dye my hair? My mom would respond, why would I dye a baby's hair and one and not the other? Until the neighborhood people, became accustomed to who we were and knew who we were.
Of course, she was teased.
Maybe a carrot top. Annie was the other thing that people would say. And I associated that with white characters, and I didn't feel comfortable with that. I didn't wear makeup. I was pale. I was young. So as I got older, I began to understand how to enhance my beauty and the features that God gave me. I embraced my freckles, and I embraced my red hair.
Embraced it and explored it. Ginger Noir, the Black Redhead Project, is not only an open call to speak to black redheads, but the mission is to explore the origins of red hair.
But in my research, I hope to find out and, find more black redheads on the continent of Africa and exactly where the gene comes from. The studies that I'm reading says that it's a Northern European gene. However, I wonder how, that Northern European gene produces color. The African, people from the diaspora can produce color. So like to know more about it and find out how this actually shows up and where it comes from. And what I've learned over the years is that, recently, that there's a gene that produces the red hair and drives the balance between the reddish and the dark pigments that show up in our hair. And that gene is called the melanocortin-1 receptor. And if you have more pheomelanin in your hair, you have more red highlights. However, you can have more eumelanin in your hair that over time will allow your hair to get darker.
Lately, there has been this odd social media trend.
When I first realized that there is an intersectionality between redheads and black people.
That's the voice of a white redhead. He's speaking along with many others on social media about the connection between white redheads and black people.
From that moment, I have not been able to shake that realization that to some people, an other, whether it be a white person with red hair or a black person, will always be an other.
They say they are sometimes treated differently too.
But it's undeniable that there are actual overlaps in the redhead community, historically as well, in the black community. And I think that's why we're so excited today to kind of realize that, there are populations that have and will understand very similar life trajectories and experiences.
So similar,
Even though they're white, they say the curious want to touch their hair too.
In the same way, certain types of white people have to let you know that they have black friends, that they've interacted with a black person before. They do the same thing with redhead. They have to tell me that their cousin 3 times removed was a redhead. There was someone in their family that was a redhead. They knew a redhead. They had a redhead friend. I knew a redhead once that I hated, but you changed my entire opinion on all redheads. That kind of dialogue. Fascinating. Number 2, in the same way white people will reach out and touch your hair without asking for permission, they do the same thing with redheads.
Iva Wilson of Ginger Noir, the Black Redhead Project, is aware of the online chatter, but her mission is on the Black people with red hair.
I didn't jump on the trend simply because what I want to focus on is that there are Black redheads and that we deserved to be seen and we are rare. I want to focus on the ambiguity of our heritage and that every redhead isn't fair skin. And as I mentioned, sometimes the hair darkens over time, but nonetheless, we are redheads. And I think what people like is that I'm educating people about the gene, and I am celebrating us as Black people who have been overlooked.
Do you have anybody in your family line with red hair?
I do. My cousin, a few cousins, and they happen to be on my father's side. And one of my cousins is brown skin, and her hair was fire red. And as she got older, the eumelanin showed up, so her hair appears darker, but she still has the fiery, the red undertone. What I learned is that both parents must carry the gene, and you don't know until, you have that child with red hair. In my conversation, so many people walked up to me and said, my grandmother had red hair, my father had red hair, and it got darker. My mother had red hair. And so that leads me to believe it is a strong gene, maybe in, from Africa. So many people have it. But as I mentioned, between the two melanated genes, we produce more, the hair will become darker. If you have less, the hair remains lighter. So I do have a cousin who has red hair, first cousin, and then also another cousin, a first cousin's child was born with red hair. So that's how it shows up on my dad's side. So I didn't participate in the trend. I looked at it just briefly, but I moved on because, again, Ginger Noir, like Black redheads, we're not a trend. We're going to be here, as I get older, my hair is changing. But I want our uniqueness to be recognized as power, and I want our presence to be seen. So my page focuses on Black redheads through poetry, through just, uplifting words to remind anyone, any young Black redhead, that they are beautiful, that they are unique. And also to, people my age who are tapping in, applauding and saying, yes, I wish I had this representation. Thank you. So that is my goal. I didn't want to jump on the white redheads are Black trend.
Do you know what percentage, I should ask, of Black people have red hair?
So it is the rarest color in the world. And so only about 2% globally has naturally red hair, making Black redheads a smaller percentage.
Now, when will this project be out and what can we expect to see in it?
The Redhead Project is a series of events that I'm bringing people together to document our stories and our everyday lives. So the goal is to document, meet new redheads, move from city to city, and also incorporate a Black geneticist so that, again, the facts and the questions about the gene can be answered with credibility. So I foresee the project culminating in the next year. I do have some things that are in line. Our next event will be, our meetup will be in December, in which we will take the New York holiday nostalgic train and participate in the holiday train ride. There, we will continue to spread awareness. So as I grow, I'll continue to document. I want to hear from more people. Someone asked me if I were to create a Mount Rushmore of redheads, who would they be? Who would the top 5 or 4 be? Of course, Malcolm X, Red Fox, and I mentioned I'm hip hop, so I'm going to throw DJ Red Alert in there. And I'm still searching for the last one.
How can we follow you?
So, yes, you can follow Ginger Noir on my website at www.gingernoirbrp.com. And I'm also on Instagram at Ginger Noir BRP. And those are the 2 sites that I'm visible in right now. And I'm looking forward to the community growing. There will be Ginger Noir and Friends events in which you can come out and, meet more gingers and hear from them yourself, or experience our time together. And as I mentioned, the next one is in December. The details will be forthcoming on our social media and the website.
Iva Wilson, producer of Ginger Noir, the Black Redhead Project. Thank you for telling us all about the beauty of our people in all shades.
Thank you for having me.
I'm Vanessa Tyler. Join me for a new episode of Blackland every week.